big warm welcome to the Body Love Revolution Online Summit. Today I have Philly with me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Philly. So Philly is the co-founder of a multi-award-winning health service, Chris and Philly Functional Medicine, and Philly is the author of Ending Body Burnout. She's an accredited clinical nutritionist, functional medicine practitioner, coach, and trauma therapist. She's also a PhD scholar and regularly featured in the media such as 9.com, Forbes, and Body+Soul. Together with her husband, Chris, Philly has worked with over 2,000 plus burnt out clients. In the past, combined with 25 years plus in her practice, is best known for ending body burnout for good in busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues. With their root cause approach, they were awarded the Tasmanian state winner and national finalist for the Telstra Best of Business Award in 2022, as well as the winner of the Australian Women's Small Business Champion Award in 2022. Philly's own passion for helping busy people have more energy, productivity, and connection came from her own personal experience of body burnout after juggling the demands of business, family, and her failing health. Welcome, Philly.
Thank you so much, Emma. I'm very excited to be here on the summit.
Yay. I was so delighted when you said yes. And we have both had the beautiful privilege of being on each other's podcast, and our conversation was so rich and juicy. I couldn't help but have you join the summit, and your knowledge and also your tremendous book,
Yay.
Ending Body Burnout. My husband's even been reading it. I've had
Oh, really?
That's
awesome.
And he's been having a read, so it's been tremendous. And also, I will let everyone know your fabulous assessment around body burnout. He also did that, and we've had lots of conversations because it's really fabulous awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Philly, I want to talk about, so tell me about your work and ending body burnout and how that can help everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I first got into what we now do because I, as Emma said in my bio, had some episodes of body burnout. In fact, 3. It took me a while to get to the root and to learn the learnings that I needed to learn in order to really love and connect with myself. So after I had both my babies, even prior to having children, I ran a lot of busy perfectionism, high achieving patterns. Was doing a PhD at a really young age, which was great, but I had a lot of imposter syndrome. And so just throughout my whole school life, university life, there was a lot of pressure, internal pressure to get straight A's, basically.
A lot.
A lot. And so then add in some children into the mix, physical trauma from the first pregnancy, sleepless nights with babies that cried. My body just, it pretty much very much screamed at me that things had to change. And so I developed quite a lot of, I just call them a combination of weird health issues, because they were the type of things that I went to the GP about. They did some tests, like there was a little bit of issue with my thyroid, but not enough to do medication. And in the end, I just got the narrative that you're a young mum, and that's what it's like. You just like, you feel crappy when you're a mum. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to believe that, because I've got friends who have children and they don't feel the way that I do. So I was struggling with things like anxiety, depression. Anxiety got really bad after my second baby, to the point of panic attacks, hanging washing on the line, a lot of gut issues, female hormone issues, chronic pain. Sometimes my back was so painful that I couldn't get out of bed and lift my baby up. And by the time my first child turned 1, things just kind of were getting worse and worse. I felt like an 80-year-old. And so I dove into nutrition first, and I'm like, we started reading books. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can heal your body using real food. Okay, let's ditch all the processed food. So I kind of started there, became a clinical nutritionist, or started studying in that, had the next baby, felt pretty good when we fell pregnant, was like thinking that I was going to nail this pregnancy and birth and new mum years this time. But as soon as the baby came, I just developed the same patterns of busyness. I'm like, yeah, I feel really good. Had a C-section. Elsie's sleeping. Wow, this is different. Okay, cool. Well, let's continue like building my empire, and just got really busy again. And very shortly after, all the same symptoms popped up. So I realized I hadn't got to the root. Nutrition was great, beautiful foundation for healing and just general health. But then I found functional medicine, which looks into body systems. So lab testing that actually looks at where your body systems are burnt out or imbalanced. That was awesome. It became specialized in functional medicine myself, while also healing myself and others, and felt really good for a few years. And then COVID happened and I burn out again. And I'm like, what? Like in my head, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Everyone's really stressed. Our other business, our gym at the time got locked down. I was worried about finances. I was homeschooling. Thought I'd be able to solve it by eating well, taking some supplements, doing some lab tests, chilling out a bit. But like my body this time was like, no, we are going to continue sending these pain signals until you get to the root of what's going on. Very important, and you're honoring your body and your physical health, but there was something deeper below in the unconscious mind and nervous system that I hadn't yet discovered or healed, and that is why my body continued to scream at me until I solved that.
And that really is, when I hear you say this, Philly, and particularly too in Body Burnout, the book, Hazel, Isla and Rose's stories are fabulous, because we see their journey and the different things, whether it be the sleep component, the mental part of it, the mindset part of it. I really enjoy the mindset questions, and that inquiry is tremendous, because yes, from a body love perspective, body burnout is all of the equations. The root cause in your particular situation was a much deeper, the emotional and the trauma, even though you were doing all the wonderful things, great, like you say, a great foundation, which was the nutrition, wonderful, trying to chill out where you could, but, there was that root cause. And I think that's the thing with the body love journey. It is multifaceted. It's not just going, well, if I clean up my diet, everything's good. Well, if I take my supplements and, it's all of that. All of that.
It was really interesting too, because I thought I was loving my body and myself, because I was very good at not eating sugar. Listen to my language too. I didn't eat. I wasn't allowed, or I didn't allow myself to eat sugar. I'm so healthy. Look at me looking after my body. But a lot of my like initial ways of trying to physically heal my body was quite fear-based, and lack of trust for my own body's ability to function at its best. And so when I uncovered that deeper component, I realized that I actually wasn't loving my body. I was actually causing more trauma to it.
Gosh. Yeah, that's an awakening. So even around that, your limiting belief, not trusting yourself, that's part of the P series. Do you think, can you tell me about the body's capability to heal?
Yeah, it can't. It like just flat out can't. So when we talk about beliefs, in your unconscious mind, we all have beliefs about ourselves, and a really deep level identity-based belief. So I am something. Now, if it's a healthy, loving, kind belief about yourself, then the proof is in the pudding. You're going to be healthy. You're going to be happy. I mean, not everything is roses and peaches and perfect all the time, but generally speaking, you have a very happy and healthy life. When that is showing otherwise, so if we're talking about body and symptoms, there is always a belief underneath behavior, including the way our body behaves.
Yeah.
And so if there's a deeper belief that I'm untrustworthy. Or like for me, the real deep one was being weak and incapable.
Mm.
Sometimes like we have clients where they're uncovering really interesting things actually. I'm like, wow, that's a limiting belief, but it really is for them. I'm different. I'm broken. I'm unlovable. I'm undeserving. So you can kind of see how if any of these deeper dysfunctional unkind beliefs about yourself, it's always going to affect the way that the body responds and acts. So your unconscious mind, which makes up 95% of our mind, is not only controlling our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors based on the beliefs that we have about ourselves, but it's also controlling every chemical reaction in the body.
Mm.
And so if you've got this like more metaphysical baggage in your system, it's you've got an internal tiger chasing you, and that's going to affect your adrenal glands. So you're producing way too much cortisol. You're going to burn out lovely neurotransmitters like serotonin because inside your body, it's unsafe to be in your body when you have these beliefs
Yeah.
and impossible to heal.
That's big, isn't it? When you think about what's driving us, that unconscious behavior, and like you say, literally having the feeling of a tiger chasing you in your body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people listening are identifying with that because I am.
Yeah.
Mm.
And often it's hidden too. I mean, sometimes we'll have clients or sometimes we just have a conversation with a friend and, it gets deep. And
Mm.
some people acknowledge straight away, they're like, yeah, I believe that I'm not good enough or I'm not lovable, which is really quite heartbreaking. But most people, adults, we hide it away from ourselves because it's too painful to be in the forefront of our mind. But what's suppressed will always express at some point in the body.
Yeah, some way, shape, or form it'll come out.
Mm-hmm.
And now in our behaviors, even if we get curious around our behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it comes out, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's either behaviors or like literal physical symptoms.
Mm.
And so I'll see that there's always like two different types of, I'll call them like camps of clients. There's some who are like really good at following physical protocols. They're like, I exercise all the time, mindfully, I go to sleep, I have all the sleep hygiene, I eat well, I take my supplements. Why am I not healing? Well, because there's a deeper belief that you can't or you're not worthy of it. And
Yeah.
so, and then your body uses pain signals to grab your attention around that
Yeah.
because it's not safe to be inside your body, and it's not safe to be in the world. And like our system doesn't like that. And so it's going to hold on to pain and symptoms, even if someone's doing all the things.
Yeah.
Then there's the other side of the camp where it's just like, far out, I know what I should be doing, but I can't. I struggle. I'm watching Netflix all night. I'm drinking wine because I'm so overwhelmed. It's like, oh, yeah, exercise. What is that? And so, there's the best of intentions, and they know that these things will help them heal, but there's some pretty intense unconscious resistance around that because it's like, why bother? You're not even worth it. Or
Yeah.
why bother? Because if you really try hard, 100% and you fail, then it's just going to validate that you're no good in some way.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I can identify with both of that those, yeah, stories and the underlying belief. Even when you're going through your one, I know what I should do, but I'm just not. And then the other stuff there's I'm lazy. Look, you can't stick to anything. It's all of that dialogue. And
Mm,
it's that's it. You've blown it like it. Yeah.
yeah.
We so know that. So talking about that, why forcing healing can cause more damage than good. So if we try and force our healing,
Mm,
how is that more damaging?
yeah. Well, you're not okay. So there's a difference between force and flow. So force looks like you're doing the things to try and heal and to improve your health, but force always comes from like it's fear-based.
Yeah.
It's in a way, and it's also self-management and a bucket load of self-discipline and willpower,
Yeah.
which which is really saying to your deeper part of yourself, your unconscious, that you're someone who's either dangerous or not trustworthy, that you have to work really hard to stay inside the boundaries of healing. Because if you step outside of that, then like, of course, you're going to fail. And so it's kind of like having like a micromanaged boss.
Yeah.
That's not nice. Like if anyone's ever been employed and they have like this kind of like intense controlling boss, or maybe even like a marriage or a relationship where you're constantly feeling controlled, well, that's what happens when you're trying to force your way to eat well or to take the supplements or force your meditation or your yoga.
Mm.
It doesn't work because it's causing more stress. And like from a physiological point of view, it does cause more stress. And so your body stays in adrenal fatigue, fight flight response. Your gut can't heal. You can't detox heavy metals from the body. And so again, people aren't doing it to try and they just don't understand. They don't understand that there's a different and a better way to actually approach your healing so that you can actually get results. And it feels quite nice doing it too, as
Yeah.
opposed to stressful. And
Yeah.
it causes more trauma at a deeper level. You're not listening to the pain signals. You're trying to get rid of them rather than understand and learn from them. And
Yeah.
then your unconscious state is like, stuff you. It's like if you're in a marriage and your husband or your partner isn't listening to you and you're like trying to like have this conversation. He's got earmuffs on and that's really annoying and irritating. At some point, there will probably be a breakup. Well, that's what's happening between your unconscious and conscious mind.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I'm thinking through that and that forcefulness. And I know that feeling. And also a part of that, like you gave the analogy of like the micromanaging boss, it's almost like you've outsourced your own wellness and then you're still not happy with what you've outsourced it to. So you're pushing against it. And when you outsource, you never take your power back. Whereas in flow state, tell me about if we go from the forced, which is I'm going to outsource it, someone tell me what to do, but then I'm irritated because someone's telling me what to do because it feels, and I've got to stay in these boundaries. So what would flow look like or feel like on
So
the healing
good.
journey?
So flow is self-permission. And again, this is a term that gets thrown around a lot where it's just like, just give yourself permission to go to the beach all day instead of work today. And someone again could do that and just say, yes, I give myself permission, but it might still be coming from a place of force if it's unsafe to do that. So flow can only come when there's self-permission from your unconscious mind that it's safe to succeed. And it's only safe when you have been able to identify and reprogram these deeper core beliefs about yourself. Otherwise, everything is unsafe. Everything is risky.
Yeah.
What if you try really hard and you don't heal? Then it just validates that you're broken, But if you had a deeper belief that it's like, no, actually, I am enough and I am strong and I'm just pure potential. Like I was born a clean slate. I wasn't born with these beliefs. Then whatever the outcome is, it's no reflection of who you are at your core.
No. And also making the decision that today is a clean slate. What's been before me, what is done. At any moment, I can have a shift. My perception can shift. And I love, the definition of a miracle, which is really just a shift in my perspective. I love the Course of Miracles, and they say a miracle literally is a shift in perspective. And I go, at any time I actually can shift my perspective, because I once have not liked something and then liked it again. I've been wrong before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's that flow, isn't it? That kind of loosening the grip hold almost. And that permission, almost getting to, in yoga, we call it like neutral mind. There's good, there's bad, but getting kind of to that neutral mind, which is good or bad, hard to say. I'm not quite sure. It's good or bad, hard to say. I'm just going to stay neutral. I'm not going to make up my mind yet. Even that's a good place to get to.
Yes. And flow is also love. Like if we're talking about body
Mm.
love, it's doing it not because you want to get rid of pain, but because you understand the pain and you understand that pain is actually the best part of you trying to do the best for you. It's just showing up as a signal at the moment. And
Yeah.
so then when you like lean into that and you're learning to deeply love and connect with yourself, there is no other outcome but to nourish and support and love yourself. And that's flow.
Yeah. And like, yeah, like you say, there's like I think of the Course of Miracles again, like two emotions, love or fear.
Mm,
That's it, isn't it? If we're not in fear, and sometimes we call fear
mm,
lots of other things, and
yeah.
sometimes we call love other things, but there's only really two things: am I in fear or am I in love with my body? And
Mm.
we can be both at different times, but as long as it's mostly moving towards flow and love, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, actually, we did a coaching call with our clients last week on this flow versus force. And someone's like, so is the aim to be like 100% in flow all the time? I'm like, well, that would be lovely, but we're still human. But it's learning to understand like what it feels like, how to get back into flow, and just micro course correcting throughout life when you choose to.
Yes, love flow. So I did also want to ask, why is our body fighting for us, not against us?
Yes. So if someone's dealing with chronic health issues, especially kind of weird stuff that they don't understand, the doctors don't understand, it's might be chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, autoimmunity, weird gut issues, skin issues, whatever it is, like again, the narrative often is, and people start saying it to themselves that, oh, like I hate my body. I hate my body. It's fighting against me. Like it's almost like this war between you and your body or your symptoms and how it's manifesting at the moment. And so that's like normal. So I remember when I was in this healing phase, especially like after the third burnout and really understanding this, I didn't enjoy if a symptom flared up. Like my immediate reaction was like, far out, not again. Oh, this is annoying. But then, so it's like, it's a natural response to not like pain,
Yes.
but then to then reframe and start looking at it differently in that, like, I would literally then start thanking if a symptom flared up and thanking the pain and saying, I know that you're not fighting against me, you're actually fighting for me, because our body is designed to have homeostasis and balance.
Yeah.
And so in every second, our body is always, our cells, whether it's our hormones or our neurotransmitters or the digestive juices, it's always trying to balance out so that we are optimized to have functional health, like good health, thriving health. Um, and that pain is simply there to grab our attention about something. And so
Mm.
it's fighting for us. Like, how
Yeah.
wonderful is it? Because otherwise, we'd probably all drop dead of cancer
Yeah.
because we didn't hear the signs, and it's eventuated over years to something that's really terminal.
Yeah. Do you know the visual I just got then when you were telling me, Philly, when you were on your third healing journey and when your body would give you a symptom and you'd go, oh, like that frustration? I just got the visual of thinking about the body like your car. Like my car bips and beeps at everything. If I'm trying to reverse, it bips. If I'm too close, if someone's too close to me, it bips all the time. And I don't go, oh, stop bipping. I go, oh, thank you for the warning. Thank you for the warning. Like when I'm
Yeah.
reversing. And I
Yes.
was just thinking of your body then, those little symptoms we get. It's almost like driving in your car trying to reverse, or you're
Mm.
parking and your car gives you a little bit. You don't get pissed at it. You go, oh, good. Thank you. I'm a bit close.
Yes.
Whereas I
Yes.
think we almost, like, just when you were
I
saying
love
that to
that.
me, I thought, no, this is my body, because I was thinking, no, it's our body just giving us a bit of a bip, like you say, like to course correct. We don't need to lose our mind and think we've done anything wrong. It's just a warning lights on
Yes.
into it.
I love it. I'm going to steal that metaphor and like, I'll make sure I attribute it to you.
Yes, I just got that visual. I was thinking, oh, so it's almost like our vehicle that just gives us a
Yes.
few bips and boops. And
Yes.
like, as we know, when the engine light's on, pull up. Do not
Yeah.
keep driving.
Do not keep driving. Do not go past go. Like some practical, I guess, examples of that. So sometimes it's just pure physical. Sometimes it's like I ate a bit too much Christmas pudding over, and our body will speak to us when it's like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is just a pure physical, you've gone beyond your biological capacity as a human to digest or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's usually more metaphysical, or in some way you've broken rapport or trust with yourself again. So so I like one of my big symptoms, and I haven't had this for quite a long time, which is great, was a histamine kind of flare up. And it would be like itchy, my body would feel hot. Sometimes I'd even have rashes tracking down my arms and massive amounts of heartburn and reflux. And it was when it was chronic, it was pretty much every day and always after I ate meals, but not always.
Mm.
And I played around with like a low histamine diet. That really helped. But I also had this philosophy that I'd been preaching to my clients that a healthy body should be able to eat all healthy foods. So I'm
Mm.
like, I should be able to eat tomatoes and avocado and cacao without having a response in my body. So my immediate brain, like thought pattern when I'd get this acid reflux and histamine response was, it's the food. But then immediately after that thought, I'd be like, well, what if it's not the food? I don't believe that it's the food. I think it's something else.
Mm.
And so and it was deeply connected to this belief of being weak and incapable. And as I started shifting that, reprogramming it, changing it, the histamine issues like literally switched off, but not forever. There was a period of time where it would come and go, almost like the beep, the little blip. It's like, oh, hang on, you've just hit a bit of a post there, or you're about to, because you've started believing old things about yourself, or you've done a behavioral pattern that like you was an old way of being. And so, oh my gosh, when it started happening, and I tested it, I'm like, what did I do? If it wasn't the food, how have I broken rapport or trust with myself? And sometimes it was really subtle stuff like, I remember I got a text message once from a friend who's like, hey, blah, blah is having a hard time at the moment. I'm just organizing some people to do some meals for her. And I was at work in the middle of the work, and I had this like just overwhelming feeling of, I can't do that. How am I going to manage that? When am I going to be able to go to the shops and make the meal? And like, oh, maybe I'm going to have to outsource this to Chris, but I feel awkward doing that. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should just say no, but then I'll feel guilty. And then like it all happened in milliseconds, this like
Mm.
conundrum of like yo-yoing thoughts. And in the end, I said, it's fine. I can cook a meal. I'll just make a bit extra tomorrow night when I cook something for my family. It's all good. And I said, yes. Had lunch and the worst histamine response. And it kept getting worse and worse as the day continued. So I knew it wasn't food. And also it had been symptom free for, I don't know, maybe weeks at that point.
Mm.
And I'm like, what the heck? And it was purely that I didn't trust my ability to be able to make someone a meal.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I said yes, like it was nothing to do with I should have said no. It was literally that I just went into panic mode around like, how can I make this happen? When it's
Yeah.
like, it's very simple and you're very capable of being able to do that. And
Mm.
that's what we believe now, not the other way.
Yeah. And that's a sneaky way that it came in that you didn't even realize about, that feeling weak and not capable.
Yeah. Yeah. And like when I named it, and I remember I was lying on my bed that night, hand on heart, hand on belly, and I just apologized to myself and in a very heartfelt way. Reflux, heartburn, histamine response switched off immediately.
Oh, that's powerful.
It's so powerful. So it's really testable. Like if someone's listening and they are struggling with a lot of kind of like weird health issues, symptoms, I mean, there's a process to get to the point where you can switch them off, but it's something you can start experimenting with now. And it's so powerful because you're taking your power back.
Yeah.
You're healing your own body and self, not just expecting a supplement or like a medication to do that. We
Yeah.
use supplements in our practice, like they're lovely and restorative and healing, but if you only use natural medicine, yeah, it can end up being a band-aid approach.
Yeah. And it's bypassing. It's bypassing like you say, exactly like you say, the root cause in body burnout, like getting to the root cause. And
Yeah.
yes, all of those other things absolutely support, the body love, which is having a really great nutritious diet, moving your body, getting to the beach, meditating. But it's holistic. It's not, you cannot do one thing and expect it to all shift. It's the whole gamut. So, Philly, before we finish up, if you were to, just as you gave the example there, like start to get curious or test yourself, almost like the belief, how would someone do that? Like you gave the example, you laid on the bed at night, hand on heart, hand on belly, and just felt into that. Is that what you would recommend if someone was having like a little flare up? What would that look like?
Yeah, okay. So probably even before that, I just look at patterns first. So like, what are patterns in your behavior, thought patterns, the way that your body behaves that is not serving you, that's dysfunctional, that's blocking you from getting you what you want, and also getting clear on what you do want. Like, what do you want your body to be like? What do you want your relationship with your body and your life to be like? Because a dysfunctional pattern that I might think is relevant for me might not be relevant for someone else. So
Yeah.
you're kind of getting clear on where are your sticky points that are holding you back. And then what must you believe about yourself in order to continue behaving that way? You know that it's preventing you from getting you what you want. So there's always a belief underneath that. Oh gee, this is kind of like probably going into the whole framework.
No, but that's a great, that's like a great, even that one question you just said then, what do you want to believe about your body? Regardless of what you don't, what do you want to believe about it? Which is, I'm capable and I'm strong and I trust myself.
Yes.
So
Yes.
perhaps I have the opposite to that belief, but I know how I want to.
Yeah. So that's another way of kind of identifying that deeper root cause belief. And then in our practice, we do a lot of kind of past work as well, because at some point as a child, you chose to believe that thing about yourself. And until you can go back and not only rescue the child, but really like deconstruct the foundation that that belief was created upon, which when you do that, it's literally breaking down neural pathways that are holding on to that belief.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might need to do some trauma clearing from distressing events, reprogramming. So going back to lying on my bed, so I identified the belief and all the pattern. It's like, far out, yeah, it's just gone back to that old belief. I didn't only just give myself an apology, but we use a lot of kind of somatic tools as well, because the unconscious is the body.
Yeah.
And so when you can rebring, not only like change your beliefs and start talking to yourself in a different way, but also at the same time create the most beautiful feeling of safety and warmth and love inside your body, those new beliefs start to actually hold, because you're then creating a new neural pathway where it's like, oh, this feels good, this feels safe. Okay, yeah, and this is what we believe. And this also, when your body is feeling safe, it cannot have physical symptoms.
Yeah, that's good. When your body is feeling safe, it cannot have physical symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like I'm feeling
Whoa.
yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay. So that's even another great question. So when the physical symptoms are presenting,
Mm-hmm.
where in life am I not feeling safe?
Yes. And sometimes it can be a blind spot for people too, where
Yeah.
they're like, but I'm on a holiday and I'm having fun and I feel relaxed, but I'm still getting severe bloating and I'm running to the toilet. It's like, well, there's some part of you or something happening around you, but usually it's internal. There's something inside of you that still isn't safe.
Mm. or even that example, do I even deserve the holiday? I'm here,
Yeah.
I'm relaxing, I'm here. I should be at home working.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they're real subtle too, where it's actually like, oh, gee, if I get really honest, there's a bit of guilt around being here,
Yeah.
or pressure that I should be doing something different, or even pressure that the holiday's like lovely, but it's not perfect.
Yes. Great. But a couple of things.
The
I
kids are
didn't
still
book,
having chanties.
yeah, or I didn't book the right place. I should have done better. Or whatever.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that restaurant, the other one that my husband or my partner wanted to go to, actually, far out, maybe I made a bad choice.
Yes. But that's then all that, because again, it just plays back into whatever the running pattern is, not good enough, failed again, didn't get it perfect, whatever that. I can see how that, and like you say, it's blind spot, it's sneaky how it creeps in. And this is the whole body love experience, isn't it? Is how it just creeps in ways that you don't even realize. And that's just the internal landscape, let alone what we've got coming at us from marketing and media and diet culture or the wellness industry or what,
Yeah.
let alone that. This is just the internal landscape. Yeah, it's not easy work, but well worth it. Well worth
It
it.
is. It's not easy because people keep that handbrake on for a long time. It's like, oh, I'm kind of like taking it off a bit, but there comes a point where when you completely take the handbrake off, it actually, you do move into ease and flow. And it's the most beautiful work because, well, from my personal experience, I've never once listened to myself, like deeply listened to myself and acted upon that. And magical things have come from that. Like I've never once done that and it's ended up in doom. It's
Yes.
always for my betterment.
Yeah.
And like even random things, like I remember when I started doing this work, I mean, finances were quite a bit of a struggle and a stress, but all of a sudden it's like $10,000 more a month. I haven't changed anything from a strategy point of view. Like, what? Where the heck is this coming from?
Yeah, that ease and flow and trust in yourself and your gifts and talents and what you're here to do on this planet.
It's just
Oh,
like energetically, people feel that now
yeah.
because you're allowing yourself to feel it.
Yes, you taking the handbrake off. You're in flow, you're not in force and doing
Mm-hmm.
what you think you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming from that innate, that trust place.
Mm.
Oh, so beautiful, Philly. Love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you too. You make me happy.
You make me happy. Thank you so much, Philly, for all of your pearls of wisdom today. I've had light bulbs clearly going off, which is just wonderful.
Yeah.
For those of our beautiful guests who have joined us today, definitely go and get your hands on Body Burnout. It is
Yes.
wonderful. Finding Your Spark, a functional medicine guide to busy women with energy, mood, and gut issues. It is a tremendous read. And like I said, I loved the Rose, Isla, and Hazel, their journey. That is, yeah, because that makes it really real. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And
I
also,
really.
yeah, and also
Yeah.
said, like, my husband's been reading it, which is great. So that's been
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yes, no, I've definitely had males buy it for themselves as well. It's like it totally relates. Maybe you just skip the like small part about vaginas and
Yeah,
maybe like female sex hormones.
yeah,
Otherwise, men deal with the same issues.
yeah.
Maybe it can show up differently in a cultural way, which I talk about in the book. But yeah, we work men and women, and it's all the body only breaks down in so many ways, and so too does the unconscious. And the
Mm.
process is there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you, Philly. Thanks for your time. And also, I'll pop, of course, in the show notes your fabulous assessment tool around body burnout. That is
Yeah, cool.
tremendous. Like I mentioned, it's just well worth doing. Great information and self awareness. And then your book, and then people will see your website and how they can work with you if they want to uncover and have a really supportive program to work through the root cause of burnout, which is fabulous.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Philly.
much.
Thank you, my darling.